What if the road to humanity's darkest chapter didn't begin in a death camp, but in a classroom, a newspaper, or a quiet dinner table? Auschwitz didn't appear overnight. It was built brick by silence, prejudice, and apathy. Auschwitz, the name alone carries a weight history cannot bear, yet must never forget. More than a concentration camp, it became the epicenter of a systematic industrial genocide that murdered over 1 million innocent lives, most of them Jews. But how did we get there? This film traces the road that led to Auschwitz, not just the geography, but the minds, the policies, and the chilling decisions that paved it. At the heart of it all, ordinary people and survivors who bore witness to the unimaginable. The seeds of Auschwitz were sown long before its fences were erected. In the ashes of World War I, Germany was a nation humiliated, economically shattered, and desperate. The Treaty of Versailles had not only stripped it of land and power, it left a nation searching for someone to blame. And blame, as history has taught us, is fertile ground for evil. It didn't begin with guns. It began with rhetoric. In cafes and classrooms, and across the airwaves, a slow-burning fire of anti-Semitism was lit. Then came Adolf Hitler, a man whose venomous words became policy. Through propaganda, he painted the Jewish people not just as different, but as dangerous. The Nazi Party's rise wasn't an overnight coup. It was a campaign built on fear, nationalism, and a dangerous desire for racial purity. By the early 1930s, Nazi ideology had gripped Germany. Jewish doctors were fired, Jewish children expelled, books were burned, neighbors turned silent. And in 1935, the Nuremberg laws institutionalized anti-Semitism. Jews were no longer citizens. Intermarriage was criminal. Humanity was slowly legally erased. In 1940, as Europe bled under Nazi boots, the town of Auschwitz in occupied Poland was renamed Auschwitz. At first, it was a prison camp for Polish dissidents, but it quickly became something far more sinister. Heinrich Himmler, architect of the SS, selected Auschwitz for a deadly experiment, a factory of death. With its remote location and railway access, it was ideal for mass deportations. Brick by brick, gas chambers and crematoria were built. Cold industrial tools designed to erase human life. In 1942, the Nazis implemented the final solution, the plan to exterminate all European Jews. Auschwitz-Birkenau became the primary killing center. Trains packed with Jews from across the continent, France, Hungary, Greece, the Netherlands, arrived daily. Families were torn apart on the selection ramp. Those deemed unfit to work, the elderly, children, pregnant women, were sent directly to the gas chambers. Their belongings cataloged, their hair shaved, their names erased. One man, Rudolf Höss, the camp's commandant, would later testify to the murder of over 1.1 million people under his command. He called it efficient. History calls it evil. And yet some survived, broken but not silenced. Elie Wiesel was 15 when he arrived at Auschwitz. His mother and sister were killed that day. Years later, he wrote, "Never shall I forget that night, the first night in camp, that turned my life into one long night."
Some students ask me, what will happen when all the survivors will be gone? And my answer is, to listen to a witness is to become a witness.
Primo Levi, an Italian chemist and survivor, recalled how men became numbers, stripped of dignity, reduced to laboring ghosts. He wrote not to hate, but to warn, it happened, therefore it can happen again. Eva Mozes Kor and her twin sister were subjected to horrific medical experiments by Dr. Joseph Mengele. She forgave her captors, not to absolve them, but to free herself from the burden of hate.
That no matter how difficult a life is, we should never give up on living. We should do everything within our power to stay alive.
Every survivor carries a universe within them. In their stories, we find horror, but also resilience, humanity beaten, but not broken. Auschwitz is not just a place, it is a warning etched into the earth. The Holocaust did not begin in gas chambers. It began with words, with ideas, with the dehumanization of neighbors, the silence of bystanders, and the weaponization of fear. It teaches us that evil is not always loud. Sometimes it's quiet. It wears suits, writes laws, and smiles for the cameras. The survivors remind us that even in the darkest night, there is a flicker of light, of faith, courage, and the power to resist. History, when forgotten, repeats itself. But when remembered, truthfully, painfully, it can guide us. The road to Auschwitz was paved by many steps. It is our duty to ensure those steps are never taken again. If this story moved you, don't let it end here. Speak out against hate wherever you find it. Challenge prejudice. Stand up when others fall silent. Let this not just be a history lesson, but a mirror. What kind of world are we building? What kind of history are we writing today? Share this story, remember the names, and above all, never forget. Because the road to Auschwitz must never be walked again. Don't forget to like and share this video so more people can uncover these forgotten messages. Until next time, keep seeking truth, keep shining.